Hi everyone, Teacher Janet here. In this video, we're going to discuss the Melaka Trial 2023 paper, Biology Paper 1, and this is part 1. So it will include questions 1 to 20 and it's the revision of the Form 4 topics. Now part 2 will be on question 21 to 40, coming up soon. So in this video, we are going to look at some HOTS questions too. So this paper is quite good because it's a number of good HOTS questions for you to practice and sharpen your thinking skills. Alright? As we know, SPM contains a lot of these HOTS questions, right? So apart from that, it will also help you to detect some of any weak spots, alright? Any topics that you need to revise again, okay? And help to strengthen your memory, okay, of these concepts, biological concepts. So come, let's try this paper together. And at the end of this of the video, there's a score chart also, okay, to help us get an idea what grade is equivalent to the score that you obtain, right? So keep calm and study, and let's try this question together. Now the website where this paper can be obtained is given down below here, in the description box. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to write questions down below the box in the comment section, right? So let's begin. Question 1. Which of the following is biological waste of category A? A. Syringe, B. Chicken's blood, C. Filter paper, and D. Rat carcass. So biological waste of category A. Now this is from the first chapter of the Form 4 syllabus, right? The very first chapter. So nowadays questions tend to be asked from this chapter also, compared to the past when in the old syllabus the chapter 1 chapter was usually not asked in the exam, okay? So nowadays there's usually one question on chapter 1, usually. Right, so let's look at this waste of category A, right? So according to our textbook, category A wastes are the sharp wastes such as sharp instruments like syringes, needles, glass, and scalpel. Scalpel is the small knife that's used in dissection. Okay, it's a knife. Scalpel. So syringe here should be the answer. Okay, because it is included as one of the sharp wastes. Okay, in the category A grouping. Now, how about chicken's blood? Chicken's blood is under liquids or fluids, so it's category D, right? And filter paper is category B, non-sharp wastes, right? And lastly, we have rat carcass. Now, carcass means bangkai, dead bodies of animals, like frog carcass. Also, frogs are sometimes used in dissection. So all the carcasses and the organs and tissues from animals, they are classified as category C. So it's very easy to remember. Okay, I'll teach you a method to remember these 4 categories. Category A, look at the sharp A here. All right, so it must be all the sharp wastes. Okay, there's a sharp point at the top here. All right, now category B, look at the B, is rounded, right? So it's the non-sharp wastes. Think of the word blunt, okay, or non-sharp wastes. All right, still there are wastes, things like gloves, tissue paper, plastic containers. Now category C, animal carcass. C for carcass or dead bodies of animals. D, think of drinks. Okay, a drink is a fluid. Of course, we don't drink all these waste, right? But D stands for drink. So a drink is a fluid. So category D is about fluids or liquids. Okay. So like broth culture, that's used for to help bacteria reproduce. Okay, in them to cultivate the bacteria, and liquids such as animal blood, like chicken blood, to study the blood cells and so forth, red blood cells and so forth. So we must remember the 4 waste categories. Question 2. The following statement is about component cell X or cellular component X. Okay. Now, site of photolysis of water and reduction of carbon dioxide gas. So this is stating the function. This is the function of the organelle. And then what is component cell X? So what is the cellular component called X, right? So the statement here, site of photolysis of water and reduction of carbon dioxide. These two processes, photolysis of water and reduction of carbon dioxide, are involved in photosynthesis. That means photosynthesis is the process involved, right? And the organelle that carries out photosynthesis is, of course, the chloroplast, correct? So we have to identify the chloroplast, and that's D, okay? So X is the chloroplast that carries out photosynthesis in which photolysis of water occurs. So how do we know this is the chloroplast? The chloroplast should have a double membrane, as we can see here, the outer membrane and the inner membrane. And inside, we can see the stacks of thylakoids, like these shape structures. Okay, they are the thylakoids, and when they're stacked up, they're called each stack is called the granum, correct? So you can see a lot of granum or grana here, right? So this is the chloroplast that carries out photosynthesis. Now, if you look at A, what is A? Let's identify. So A, the first part here, you can see the flattened membranes here with the dots here, which represent the ribosomes. So this part here is this organelle here is the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and the tube-like structures here represent the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. Then B, we can see that there are a lot of vesicles surrounding this structure, which is shaped like a C. So this is the Golgi apparatus, correct? And lastly, what is this? Yes, this is the mitochondrion, all right, with the folded inner membrane that forms the cristae, okay? Question 3, the diagram shows the transport of a substance across the plasma membrane, all right? So have a look at the picture here, which shows the plasma membrane and the movement of substances. Now next, which of the following statements are correct about the transport, about the type of transport, okay? So choose the right choices from here and then find the right combination, okay? Right, let's look at the answer. So here we see the plasma membrane, the phospholipid bilayer, and then this white molecule here is actually the carrier protein, a carrier protein. Here we see that ATP is needed for the movement of the substance, so it is definitely active transport, okay, because ATP is involved. Now, furthermore, we can see that substances move from region of lower concentration outside the cell to region of higher concentration in the cell. Low to high, it's like climbing up a hill. Energy is needed, right? So let's find out the statements that are true for active transport, okay? First one, transport of substance is affected by the concentration of the substance. Now, this is true if it is passive transport, as in diffusion, okay, or osmosis. But in this case, it is not passive transport, it's active transport, and it's dependent mainly on the energy, okay? That energy must be provided for the process to occur. That's all. If there's no energy provided, then the process cannot occur, okay? Now next, it occurs in the distal convoluted tubule during secretion of urea. Now, so this one we study in the topic of homeostasis in Form 4, when you study about process of urine formation in the kidney. Okay, so in the distal convoluted tubule of the nephron, there's secretion of urea into the distal convoluted tubule from the blood into the distal convoluted tubule. Okay, so that the urea can be excreted in the urine. Now, does it involve active transport? Yes, it does. Okay, secretion in this case involves active transport of the urea. It requires energy from region of lower concentration in the blood to region of higher concentration in the nephron or in the distal convoluted tubule. So number 2 is part of the answer. Okay. Then mitochondria is needed to enable the process to occur. Yes. Okay, because mitochondria helps to release energy, right? And then this energy can be used for active transport. So mitochondria are the organelles where the respiration occurs, cellular respiration occurs to produce energy in the form of ATP. That's then used in active transport. Number 4, this process will occur until dynamic equilibrium is achieved. Now this is only true if it is passive transport. Okay, for example, in diffusion, diffusion of a substance, okay, from region of high concentration to low concentration, the process will occur until both regions have the same concentration of the substance. Okay, then dynamic equilibrium is achieved. Okay, and then the diffusion will stop. So the answer is number 2 and 3. So answer is B. Question 4. A student experienced severe diarrhea and vomiting due to food poisoning. Now, what is diarrhea? It's cirit-birit or latutse, okay, where a person has to go to the toilet very often to pass out the watery feces. Now, so which of the following is the most suitable drink that should be taken immediately to overcome the problem? A, orange juice, B, coconut water, C, energy drink, and D, caffeinated drink, such as coffee and tea. So orange juice and caffeinated drinks, they are quite acidic and they may further irritate the stomach that's already in pain due to the diarrhea and vomiting. Okay, so they may not be suitable. Now, energy drink, how about energy drink? C. Now, energy drink contains vitamin B and other substances and helps a person to get more energy, all right, for daily activities. So it may not be able to help replace the lost mineral ions or electrolytes that are lost through diarrhea and vomiting. Okay, so the best answer is coconut water. Now, okay, according to the net, the young coconut water contains mineral ions or electrolytes such as potassium, magnesium, and sodium, and could possibly be used like an oral rehydration solution to rehydrate, to put back the water and the electrolytes back into the body that are lost through diarrhea. Okay, so it can be used for mild diarrhea. And according to the internet, also barley water may help. Okay, and this is from Health Hub. So if the question here, one of the choices is barley water, let's say in place of coconut water, they put barley water, then it will be the best answer of all. Okay. So now all this is not intended to be used as medical advice. Okay. To be offered as medical advice. Okay. We are just discussing this as a biology question for the exam, right? So because food poisoning can be serious, and if it's serious, the person ought to consult a doctor. Let's say the diarrhea and vomiting continues until a lot of water is lost already, right? So, and it doesn't stop. Then better go to the doctor, see the doctor to get medication, all right? And also sometimes the person may have to go on drip in the hospital so that he can gain back all the electrolytes and the water that has been lost through severe diarrhea. Okay, so this question is just for our discussion, not meant to act as medical advice, right? It's discussion for the exam. And if food poisoning is serious, please do consult a doctor for anyone who has this problem. Question 5. Which of the following is correct about lipids? A. Wax consists of one molecule of alcohol and two molecules of fatty acids. So this is wrong because wax has only one molecule of fatty acid, okay, in each molecule of wax. Estrogen is a lipid compound that contains one molecule of fatty acids. Okay, B and C, steroid hormones like progesterone and estrogen contain fatty acids. So B and C are quite similar. Talk about estrogen containing fatty acids. Actually, estrogen is a steroid hormone. It does not have any fatty acids in it. Okay, So B and C are both wrong. Now D, hydrophobic characteristic on the phospholipid molecule is caused by the fatty acids. This is true. Okay, so hydrophobic characteristic means the characteristic where the phospholipid molecule is repelled by water. All right, water hating within inverted brackets. So this is caused by the fatty acid tails, the two fatty acid tails. Let's have a look at the diagram here. So answer is D. Here we see that you see a cell, and the membrane on the surface here is called the plasma membrane. So it's made up of the phospholipid bilayer and proteins and other substances. So this is one molecule of the phospholipid, okay, a phospholipid molecule. It has a hydrophilic head that's water-loving, but it also has two hydrophobic tails that stick up from it. And these two tails are actually made up of fatty acids, okay, which are repelled by water, and it is a component of lipids, so it does not mix with water. It is repelled by water, okay, or it repels water. So answer is D. So here's a screenshot from my video on the structure of lipids in relation to our last question. So the four types of lipids here are the fats, phospholipids, wax, and steroids. So fats have, each molecule of fat has 3 fatty acid molecules, okay, fats or triglycerides. Now for phospholipids, each molecule of phospholipid has 2 fatty acid molecules, as seen here, right? Just now we saw the structure. So this is a horizontally arranged. So the hydrophilic head is this part with the phosphate group and the glycerol group, okay? And the hydrophobic tails are the fatty acid tails here, okay? So it has been placed horizontally instead of vertically. Now for wax, it contains 1 fatty acid molecule, not 2, all right, in each molecule of wax, okay, 1 molecule of fatty acid. And steroids, such as progesterone and estrogen, cholesterol, testosterone, all these do not contain any fatty acids. They're just made up of the steroid backbone or carbon rings, right? 4 carbon rings. Now let's discuss a HOTS question, right? See this symbol? It means that it's a HOTS question. Now, diagram 2 shows the substance Y which assists enzyme reaction, okay? So this is substance Y. Now, which of the following are examples of substance Y? Okay, so look at the picture. You can see that substance Y can fit into this active site of the enzyme, right? But substance Y is not the substrate. Now, after substance Y has fit into this active site of the enzyme, then the substrate molecule can fit into Y instead, okay? And you see that the substrate molecule has a shape that matches the substance Y. But this shape does not match the active site, the shape of the active site of the enzyme. Okay, the shape of the substrate does not really match the original active site of the enzyme, the shape of the active site of the enzyme. It matches, the shape of the substrate matches the shape of Y. Okay, so Y help to assist in the enzymatic reaction. So what are examples of substance Y? Right, A, cyanide. Cyanide is known to be a poison that is very strong, okay, that can kill a person. So cyanide is a respiratory poison. So it is an inhibitor. It stops the respiratory enzymes from functioning normally, okay. Mercury and plumbum, plumbum is lead. So mercury and lead, they are both inhibitors of enzymes too. Okay, that means they will inhibit the activity of the enzyme instead, all right, or stop it from carrying out the reactions. So these 3, cyanide, mercury, and plumbum, are not the answers. It's not the answer. Now magnesium, magnesium is a cofactor, right? So actually this diagram shows us the function of the cofactor. So cofactors like Y are molecules that can bind to the active site, as seen here, where the substrates will then bind. Okay, so this will facilitate the quick binding of the enzyme to the substrate, and they help in the formation of products. That's how they assist enzyme action. So when you see this word assist enzyme action, these keywords will tell you that you must look for a cofactor which helps the enzyme to function well. Okay, so answer is D. Right, question 7. Diagram 3 shows the process of producing lactose-free milk using enzyme K. So in this picture, we see that the enzyme K has combined with insoluble inert substance, a substance that cannot dissolve, and it's also inert, that means it's not active. Okay, so the enzyme K remains in this position throughout the reaction, okay, on the inert insoluble substance. So the cow's milk is poured into this container here, which contains enzyme K, and then what comes out is the lactose-free milk. Okay, so cow's milk actually has lactose in it, but after this treatment, the milk is free from lactose, no more lactose. So we can conclude here that enzyme K is a lactase that has digested the lactose in the cow's milk into glucose and galactose. Okay, think of Lady Gaga, lactose digested to LA for lady, lactose digested to GU for glucose, and GA for galactose, right? So in this way, the lactose-free milk is produced, which is suitable for people who are allergic to lactose, okay, the lactose intolerant people. So these lactose intolerant people, they cannot drink milk that has lactose in it, right? It will cause them to have stomach ache and other allergic reactions, and also diarrhea. So this is how lactose-free milk is produced. Now, why is the method widely used in the dairy industry? Okay, so from our picture here, we can conclude that this type of enzyme, enzyme K, is called what type of enzyme? Can you recall from chapter 5 of Form 4 syllabus? Yes, it is an immobilized enzyme. Okay, so immobilized enzymes are enzymes that combine with the inert or insoluble substances to increase the resistance of the enzymes towards change in factors such as pH and temperature. All right, so in this way they become sort of more stable, and they can carry out the reactions even though there may be changes in pH or temperature, right? And that means the enzymes may not be so affected by the changes in pH and temperature. Now, with this method, the enzyme molecules will remain in the same position throughout the catalytic reaction, and then can be easily separated easily from its product. Okay, that means it will still be stuck to the inert substance. It will not flow out. The enzyme will not flow out with the milk. Okay, so it will continue to carry out the reaction over and over again to digest the lactose in the milk, okay, to produce the lactose-free milk. So question is, why is this method widely used? Now, is it because the structure of the enzyme remains at the end of the reaction? So structure of enzyme remains at the end of reaction is true for any enzyme, right? It will continue to be used again, all right? It remains unchanged at the end of the reaction. So this method has something more to it, okay, something special. Now, pH of medium of reaction can be maintained at neutral value, not necessarily. Now, product can be separated easily at the end of reaction. This is correct, okay, as we have stated here. It can be, the enzyme can be easily separated from its product. The product can flow out, okay, like the milk that is lactose-free, but the enzyme is still attached to the insoluble inert substance. Okay, that way the product and the enzyme are separated easily. So the answer is C. Okay. Now, product produced as high nutritional value, that's also not true. Question 8. Diagram 4 shows part of the process of human reproductive cells formation. That means the formation of human reproductive cells, right? So primordial germ cells, through the process of S, forms the spermatogonium. Then from there, primary spermatocytes are formed, and through the process of T, secondary spermatocytes are formed. So this process is actually spermatogenesis, or the formation of sperms. Okay. So what is the type of cell division that occur at S and T? Now, looking at S here, primordial germ cells actually undergo mitosis to form a lot of spermatogonia, right? So process S is mitosis. Okay. Now this is just a simple recall question that you recall your facts from memory. All right, this is the basic type of question, recall question. So it's either A or B. Both have the word mitosis here, have the process mitosis. Now let's look at T. Now is T meiosis 1 or 2? So primary spermatocytes, which are diploid, actually undergo meiosis 1, okay, to form the secondary spermatocytes, which are haploid. So the answer is actually A. So when does meiosis 2 occur? Meiosis 2 occurs after this. All right, secondary spermatocytes will undergo meiosis 2 to form the spermatids. All right, this is not shown here. Question 9. Systemic lupus erythematosus, SLE, is a type of disease related to the immune system that can be treated by stem cell therapy. What is the benefit of using this method of treatment? Okay, so we have to understand what stem cells are and what is stem cell therapy. So we have studied this in chapter 6 on cell division in the Form 4 syllabus. Now, stem cells are undifferentiated cells that can then differentiate into various types of cells like muscle cells and nerve cells. Okay, so they can be used to regenerate, to produce new specialized cells for patients who have a lack of these specialized cells. All right, to replace the cells that are damaged or the cells that are abnormal. Okay, so for the answers here, let's see. Side effects after treatment is minimum. No, this is not the answer. B, regeneration of specialized new cells occur. So B is the answer. All right. So regeneration means here to produce again new cells, to form new tissues and new to repair the organs that may be damaged and so forth. Okay, or to produce new cells that may help that will function. Okay, and replace the cells that are lacking or cells that are damaged. So the answer is B. Question 10. The bacteria Clostridium butyricum lives in anaerobic condition. What would happen to some of the bacteria if oxygen is supplied? Okay, so anaerobic condition means that it is a condition without oxygen. So this is a special type of bacteria that lives in a condition without oxygen, right? It can carry out anaerobic respiration where oxygen is not needed for the bacteria to carry out respiration to produce energy, right? So what will happen if some of the bacteria, if the oxygen is then supplied? So that would be a different condition for it, right? Now, activity of bacteria decreases, complete oxidation of glucose occurs, population of bacteria decreases, or production of carbon dioxide and water increases. All right, so for this type of bacteria, anaerobic microorganisms, like this bacteria, they don't have certain enzymes to help them survive in the presence of oxygen. Okay, not like organisms that live in aerobic condition where oxygen is needed for respiration. These organisms have certain enzymes to help them survive in the presence of oxygen. So due to the absence of these enzymes, the oxygen becomes toxic to the anaerobic bacteria like Clostridium butyricum, and so the bacteria will die. Okay, so the answer is C. The population of bacteria will decrease. Question 11. The following statements are the adaptation of the respiratory structure of an organism. Consists of many thin and flat projections, supplied with many blood capillaries. Okay, so this will give us a clue what the respiratory structure is, right? So what's the respiratory structure? A, tracheal, B, filaments, C, lungs, and D, skin. Which one is it? Now, here we can see that it says it consists of many thin and flat projections. Okay, so this is present in only one of the respiratory structures here, which is the filament that is found in the fish. Okay, as you can see here in the picture of the fish. Okay, I can see the gills here. Gills consist of a lot of these long thin filaments. So each filament, in each filament, there are many blood capillaries. All right, so that is the filament is supplied with many blood capillaries, as stated in this statement here. So that gives us a clue that's the right one. But secondly, apart from that, it has the many thin and flat projections. These are called the lamella, right? So sticking out from all these filaments, there are tiny projections called lamella, where the blood capillaries are found. Okay, so that's why it is the filament, because lungs and skin don't have these thin flat projections, and tracheal doesn't have this don't have blood capillaries on it. Okay, so the answer is B. Question 12. Diagram 5 shows the epithelial tissue on the inner surface of the stomach wall. So stomach wall, this is not the villus, okay? It's not the tiny projections called villus or villi in the small intestine. Okay, this is on the stomach wall. So what is the substance secreted by cell J? Is it A, mucus, B, pepsinogen, or C, hydrochloric acid? So you can refer back to my video also on digestion, all right? And screenshot this part from the video and also the structure of the stomach. So you can see that actually what is shown here is not a projection sticking out from the stomach. So we can't call it the villus, all right? It's actually, you see, this structure is formed when there are gastric pits. That means indentations or depressions in the stomach wall, below the surface of the stomach wall. Okay, and the cells, the epithelial cells are found here, all right? And this whole part is the gastric pit. So this part contains the cells, okay, on the epithelial layer here, that can produce or secrete three substances. Okay, different cells secrete the different substances. Okay, so referring to this layer of cells here, the epithelial cells, let's look at the enlargement of the gastric pit here with the gastric glands. Okay, these are the gastric glands here. So there are three types of cells. Chief cells secrete pepsinogen, and these chief cells are found basically at the base of the pit here. Okay, so this one here, J, are actually the chief cells, right? So they are found at the bottom or the base of the indentation or depression, and chief cells secrete the enzyme pepsinogen. Okay, so J secretes pepsinogen, that's the answer. Now how about the other cells? So the answer is B. Now, so there are also parietal cells, okay, that secrete hydrochloric acid. These are found at the sides of the gastric pit here, right? Scattered here and there. And then we have the mucus cells that secrete mucus to lubricate the movement of substances, of the food substances in the stomach. Okay. Question 13. A student has carried out an experiment to study the energy value in a food sample. Table 1 is the data obtained from the experiment. Mass of peanut 0.6 grams. Volume of water 20 ml. Initial temperature of water 29 degrees Celsius, final temperature of water 48 degrees Celsius, and the specific heat capacity of water is 4.2. Now, what is the energy value of the peanut? So this has come out in the practical exam, and it can still be tested, all right? And also other types of calculations. I know the other types of calculations, like vitamin C experiment calculation and so forth. Right, so first of all, we have to know the formula needed to find out the energy value. So the formula is mc theta per 1000 per W also. So in this case, uh, M is the mass of the water, C is the specific heat capacity, and theta is the temperature, increase in temperature. Okay, then W is the mass of the peanut or the mass of the food sample. So M is the mass of water, 20 ml, that means 20 grams, right? 1 ml of water weighs 1 gram. So 20 ml, 20 grams, 4.2 specific heat capacity of water times, now we have to find the increase in temperature. So the final temperature minus the initial temperature. Okay, the final highest temperature minus the initial temperature. 48 minus 29, we get 19. Okay, then divided by 1000 to convert to from joules to kilojoules. And then the mass of the peanut is 0.6. So it's important to note that the mass on top here is the mass of water, but the one below here in the equation is the mass of the food sample, okay, and not the reverse. Right. So after calculations, use a calculator to find your answer. You get the answer 2.66 kilojoules per gram. So answer is B. Question 14. Diagram 6 shows a blood circulatory system of an organism. What are the parts labeled P and Q? Now looking at this diagram, you see that the heart here has two chambers. So this is the circulatory system of a fish, right? And the structure of the circulatory system in the shape of a rectangle like this, like, all right, shows us that this is the circulatory system of a fish. Now, you can see the blood flowing to P, and then after that it flows to Q, right? So in the fish, the blood must first flow to the gills to obtain the oxygen that's needed for cellular respiration. After that, the oxygenated blood will flow to the capillary network in the other organs, okay? The capillary networks in the liver, kidney, and other places. So P must be the capillary network in the gills, which is called the gill capillaries, okay? And Q must be the capillary networks in the other organs, okay? So this is the systemic, these are the systemic capillaries, okay? So P are the gill capillaries, Q are the systemic capillaries. Answer is A. Another hot question here. Diagram 7 shows an electrocardiogram which is used to examine the condition of the heart. Why are electrodes attached to the skin of the patient? Right? So you can see here, this in this machine, this machine helps to detect the electrical impulses that are generated in the heart, okay, in the cardiac muscles, so that we get a pattern, okay, of the heartbeat here, which will help to the doctor to analyze, all right, what condition of the heart, what's the condition of the heart of the patient, all right? So that's the function of the electrocardiogram. So it is to examine the condition of the heart through the heartbeat that's produced. So why the electrodes attached to the skin of the patient? It is to detect the electrical impulses that are produced in the heart, correct? That causes the heart to beat, okay? So we know that the main tissue that helps to produce these electrical impulses in the heart is the sinoatrial node, SAN, right? Right, so the answer is A. Question 16. An individual has been infected by virus T 9 years ago due to free sex practices. Which of the following cells are attacked or were attacked by the virus? So look at all these cells. They look like blood cells. Okay. Now A looks like a monocyte, except that there seems to be spots inside here like granules. So we're not sure what A is, because monocytes, they are agranulocytes that don't have the granules in them, right? So never mind, leave that out. Now let's look at B. B is, of course, an erythrocyte, right? And C looks like a lymphocyte with its big round nucleus, but it does not have granules inside the cytoplasm, okay? It's not stained, and when stained, it doesn't show, the granules don't show up. It doesn't have those granules. So it's also an agranulocyte like the monocyte. D is a neutrophil with its lobed nucleus, okay? And you can see the granules inside here. So it's a granulocyte. So C and D are both white blood cells. So looking at all this, we know that there's one disease where the blood cells are attacked, and that is AIDS, okay? So C is the answer, okay? Now, HIV virus that causes AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, attacks white blood cells, specifically the lymphocytes, such as the T lymphocytes. Okay, so they attack the immune system, and by attacking the T lymphocytes, which have the big round nucleus. And then these lymphocytes, when the number of lymphocytes decreases, then the immune system of the patient will be weakened, and the person is the AIDS patient will be susceptible to other pathogens and may suffer from other diseases like pneumonia and so forth. Question 17. Diagram 8 is a graph of the changes in body temperature of an individual. Which of the following is correct about hormones that are secreted during L and M? So this graph shows us the body temperature against time, and the normal temperature is around 37.0 degrees Celsius, around there, correct? So now, which of the following is correct about the hormones that are secreted during the phase L here, stage L, which is above 37 degrees Celsius? That means when the body temperature is higher, and stage M is when the body temperature is lower than normal. Okay, so this is a HOTS question, but if you can read this graph and understand it, then you can answer the question easily, correct? So we must be able to conclude that L is the phase when the temperature, when the conditions or the body temperature is higher than normal, right? That means the person is feeling hot. So which hormone will be secreted? Okay, let's look at the examples or the answers here. Level of thyroxine increases. Okay, thyroxine is a hormone that increases the metabolic rate of a person, okay, to produce more energy, including more heat energy. More heat energy will be produced. So when the person is in the phase L here, he's hotter than he's feeling hot, okay, and the body temperature has risen. He will not increase, the body will not increase the level of thyroxine. In fact, it will decrease the level of thyroxine, correct? To reduce the amount of heat that's released by the body through the metabolic reactions like respiration. Okay, so it's either C or D. All right, now let's look at M. In M, or in this phase, the person is feeling, the body of the person is feeling colder, is cooler, correct? So what happens? Is adrenaline increased or decreased? Will the body produce more adrenaline from the adrenal glands or less adrenaline? Now we know again that adrenaline has the effect of increasing the metabolic rate also. Okay, so when a person is cold, he needs to increase his metabolic rate to produce more heat energy. All right. So in this case, C will be the answer. Question 18. Diagram 9 shows the graph of body coordination that occurs during an activity, during two activities, okay? Walking upstairs and walking downstairs. Now, and then it shows us the steps taken, which are 200 steps for each one, same number of steps, but the heartbeat rate is different, okay? Heart beats faster and more times for the activity of walking upstairs compared to the activity of walking downstairs. Okay, you can see from the levels here, right? So, which of the following is correct about this coordination? The rate of anaerobic respiration is very high while walking upstairs. Now, we are not sure whether, okay, here it should be more related to lactic acid fermentation. So, does lactic acid fermentation occur while walking upstairs? This depends on the health of the person and also the whether he's walking very fast or slow. Okay, so it may not occur. This lactic acid fermentation may not occur where there's a lack of oxygen, unless there's a lack of oxygen for aerobic respiration, okay, to produce energy for walking. So this is not necessarily true. Now, B, glucose is oxidized completely by muscle tissue while walking upstairs. So while walking upstairs, we can see that the heartbeat rate is higher. So it means that more oxygen is being pumped by the heart, okay? More oxygen in the blood is pumped by the heart to the body cells, to the muscle tissues. And this means that the rate of aerobic respiration is higher, okay, while walking upstairs. So the oxygen will be used to oxidize the glucose completely in aerobic respiration, right, to produce more energy for the activity of walking upstairs compared to walking downstairs. So this is true because the rate of respiration is higher while walking upstairs, as the person has to work against gravity, against the force of gravity. So he needs more effort, all right? He needs more muscle contraction by his legs to push himself upstairs, to move himself upstairs, okay? So this is correct. More glucose is oxidized completely by muscle tissue while walking upstairs because the rate of aerobic respiration increases compared to walking downstairs, okay? So B is the answer. Now let's look at C. More formation of carbonic acid occurs in the blood while walking downstairs. Formation of carbonic acid occurs when carbon dioxide is released through aerobic respiration, and then the carbon dioxide combines with water in the blood plasma to form carbonic acid. So when we say more formation of carbonic acid, we actually mean that the rate of respiration is higher, okay, while walking downstairs. And that's not true, okay? It should be rate of respiration is higher while walking upstairs, okay? Now next, rate of contraction and relaxation of heart muscles very high while walking downstairs. Not true, as we see the heartbeat rate is higher when walking upstairs, okay, compared to walking downstairs. So the answer is B. Question 19. Which of the following are the factors that involve the endocrine system in their regulation? 1. Body temperature. 2. Blood pressure. 3. Blood sugar level. 4. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So the endocrine system involves the endocrine glands that secrete hormones, right? So which of these 4 factors are controlled by hormones? Now, body temperature. Yes, body temperature is controlled by the hormones adrenaline, secreted from the adrenal gland, and thyroxine, secreted by the thyroid gland. Okay, so especially when the body temperature decreases below the normal level, when the person is feeling cold, then more adrenaline and thyroxine are secreted to increase the metabolic rate so that heat is released through cellular respiration. More heat is released, okay, through cellular respiration that has increased, and this will help to increase the body temperature and bring it back to normal. Now, blood pressure is not controlled by hormones. but blood sugar level is. Number 3, blood sugar level is controlled by the two hormones, insulin and glucagon from the pancreas. Insulin converts excess glucose into glycogen, whereas glucagon does the opposite, convert the glycogen back to glucose, especially when a person has lack of glucose, okay, in the body. So number 4, partial pressure of carbon dioxide. This does not involve hormones, right? So our answer is 1 and 3, which is B. Question 20. Diagram 10 shows the graph of bone mass of women for a period of time, right? So skeletal calcium mass against the age. That means the calcium mass in the skeleton against the age of the woman, right? Now, what is the symptom that begins to be experienced by the woman at T? Okay, so this is a hot question that involves the graph. Now, so if we look at this diagram here for T, we can see that the calcium mass decreases, right? After the age of, say, late 40s or 50s, around 40 something to 50. Okay, and by age 55, you can see that the calcium mass continues to decrease further, right? So what is the symptom that begins to be experienced by the woman at T? So we know that for women around this age, they experience the phase called the menopause, okay, when the levels of estrogen and progesterone begin to decrease and there's no longer any menstruation, right? So when levels of estrogen decrease, then there is loss of bone mass from the bones, okay, from the skeleton. That's why the skeletal calcium mass decreases. This is because of low estrogen level, right? Because estrogen plays a role to keep or maintain the calcium in the bones. So when the level is low, the calcium is lost from the bones when the level of estrogen is low. So what's the symptom that begins to be experienced by the woman at T? Ligament shortens and becomes less elastic. Not true. Okay, not based on this graph, right? Backbone is bent to the side. No, it should be bent to the front, right? Or cause the person to be hunchback to the front, not bent to the side. Softening and weakening of the bone. Softening here is not a correct description for the type of disease. It should be weak and brittle bone. And what's the name of the disease? It's called osteoporosis. Okay? So the answer is D. So the woman suffers from osteoporosis caused by loss of calcium from bones at menopause, which occurs at about 50 years due to low estrogen levels. Bones become weak and brittle. Now for C, softening and weakening of bones refer to another disease called osteomalacia, condition where bones become soft, weak, bend, and break easily, usually caused by lack of vitamin D and not related to menopause. Okay, but here in this graph, based on this graph, we can see that it is talking about loss of calcium at menopause. Okay, so the answer is osteoporosis, and in osteoporosis, the symptom is weak and brittle bones. Right, that's all for this lesson. How did you fare? Now you can compare your score to this score chart. This is just a rough idea of what your grade would look like, all right, would be if you have a particular score, all right? So I've just converted the scores based on 20 marks to the total marks of 100 marks, okay? And if you have 18 to 20, you get A plus, 16 or 17 is A, 15, which is about 75% is A minus, right? For B is 70 to 74, and then C is 60 to 69, so it's the score of 13 or 12. And then D is 10 to 10 and 11 marks. Okay, below that is like haven't reached the passing mark. Okay, so if you haven't fed well, this is a tough test because there are quite a number of HOTS questions. So don't be discouraged if you haven't fed well or did well, right, based on your expectations. Just continue to work hard and try more trial paper questions and you will improve, right? Apart from that, do read through the notes and memorize the main points. Right. So thanks for viewing. Please do share, like, and subscribe. And goodbye for now.